Wow, that's fucking dark, man. Yeah, we're going. I initially said we're not going to tell you when we're recording, but here we are.
All right.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hey, y'all. It's Rick Cleveland. I just had unprotected sex with a watermelon. No, that's a bad Cleveland voice. I can't do a Cleveland voice.
I don't know. I think that was actually pretty on
I,
spot.
I one day I had a plot to just one day dress up like it's Cleveland Brown, grow a mustache out, wear a yellow shirt, and go up to a Chick-fil-A employee like, "Excuse me, can I get like some chicken nuggets and a grilled sandwich and one of them Gatorades?"
Did
Just
you Gatorade at Chick-fil-A?
I mean, I'm improving, but that was my idea, just to go dress and see how long it takes someone to walk up and say, "Hey, it's Cleveland."
Well, I mean, Chick-fil-A probably 5-10 minutes, but if you go to KFC or McDonald's,
I haven't been to a KFC in years. It's like before, it was dietary restrictions, but now I just can't eat there because it's fucking expensive. Like
you ain't kidding, man. I mean,
KFC is like they're like the Five Guys of chicken, except KFC tastes good, knows how to cook their food. Now,
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, did you see the?
Son of a bitch.
There's my alarm. Turn the alarm
Fry
off.
'em all, he say.
Sorry about that.
I
But
know worries, no worries.
yeah, like, do you see the prices for Five Guys? It's like $23 for like just a burger combo. Like,
Five Guys doesn't even do burger combos, man. You pay for it a la carte.
it's so stupid,
Yeah, Five
man.
Guys is overrated as hell, man.
They're the worst burger. They're like the worst, man. Their burgers aren't even fully cooked. It's
Well,
like
I have no issue with that because I'm an obligate carnivore and I like red meat. But
I don't listen. I don't mind red meat. Sometimes a little bit of blood is fine. Sometimes, but like, goddamn, I had one that was pink.
I hear it's not even blood. But no, I get you. But besides which, like
Like,
Five Guys gives you 20 goddamn options.
and
Because by the time you're done loading it with the shit that you actually want to make it any semblance of tasty, you've basically killed the burger. You're better off getting just, mushrooms, grilled onions, and some other shit.
I come up there and I'm like, yeah, can I get a small bag of fries? Okay, here's all the fries in the store.
$33.
Yeah, well, here's $100 worth of fries. Fuck you. Come again. Like, you can't do that. Five Guys, man. And it's just, there's not a lot of stuff in the world that makes me mad, but when I hear people say Five Guys is better than In and Out, I generally get mad because it's like you're like saying like, oh, the sky is actually green, not blue. Like,
Listen, I'm a man of nonviolence. And maybe I'm biased because we both live in California and we're both raised in California, but I gotta tell you, man, to those of you that think Five Guys is better than In and Out, you're entitled to your very, very wrong opinion. And also, I place a curse on you that you stub your toe and it gets infected. And just as it heals, you stub it again, you sick son of a bitch.
and you get herpes. I'm sorry. I gotta not be so mean. But so
Oh my god.
I understand. There's some people out there that are gonna love Five Guys, and that's fine. You rich piece of shit. Okay, fine, whatever. I like In and Out better.
Because
It's
it's better tasting and they sell combos, man. It's
it's
like,
just everything is so balanced out with In and Out. The burger, the salad, it's all just balance.
it
That's
is. And you get some extra grilled onions on a 4x4,
yeah.
and hell, the animal fries. Like, here's the thing. I will admit this that Five Guys has the superior fries at the end of it.
Yeah,
Say what you will about them, they have decent fries. But the thing is, I like my fries from In and Out. I like them they cook light, a little bit soft, and you
yeah,
add some. But I'm saying that in and of itself, in its base form, not that great unless I salt them to hell.
yeah. Granted, I don't really eat potatoes no more anymore, but
Racist.
I don't eat them no more because like it'll shoot up my blood sugar and all that. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love French fries. I just don't eat them all the time. If I'm gonna go to a restaurant, I'm just probably gonna get the sandwich or whatever. But yeah,
Remind
five.
me never to take you to Red Robin, man.
Oh man, dude, don't tempt me with Red Robin.
Oh man, I was there a couple months ago, man. Fucking it was really really good.
They're great. They're the best,
And they
man.
have garlic parmesan fries now. By the way, we're not sponsored by this, but if you want to sponsor us, Cash App.
Yeah. I'll be behind the alleyway with a big bag with a money sign on it. Mm.
And plastic baggies of nondescript powder.
and gloves that don't quite fit my hand.
Is that in bad taste, given the recent events?
He was a monster.
We're not saying who. We're
There's
not saying who.
a certain beverage named sports player who
No,
allegedly,
a beverage named cartoon.
yes,
A beverage named cartoon character.
yes.
I mean, one of my friends was telling me that there's a whole conspiracy theory that it actually wasn't him, that it was his son. There's like a whole deep dive on that. And like, I'm not going to get into it personally, but moving right along, Five Guys, yeah, there we go. Speaking of expensive food, though, man, like, I went to Panda Express the other day with Ale, and we had this coupon, buy one, get one, so, buy one, we'll get one free, and I got the honey walnut shrimp, and, man, they really dicked me on shrimp.
Yeah.
Like, people are nice enough to wait, the server, whoever, is nice enough, but she was, like, deliberately counting the shrimp, and I'm like,
Maybe they're trying to save money. Which panda did you go to?
the one by, in my neck of the woods on, Century and Crenshaw,
Ah,
by the Target out there. I mean, it was okay, but at the end of the day, man, like, are you really that much in hawk, or, like, I mean, I know shrimp's a premium item, but hey, if I'm gonna pay an extra buck, I want my fucking money's worth, man.
yeah. Man, you're lucky you still like shrimp because for me, I used to love shrimp as a kid, but when I got older, it just lost its appeal. I mean, I'm saying I'm not going to eat it if I'm gonna eat it, I'm gonna eat it, but it's definitely on the bottom of food I want to eat now because it just lost its appeal to me. I don't know why. It's just not as appetizing.
Hey, our tastes change. I mean, I used to love bananas as a kid, now I hate them. Like, I hate them like as soon as I hit 5.
Yeah, I stopped eating bananas because they're full of sugar. Like I talked to my doctor and she's like, oh yeah, that shit's full of sugar and pineapple too. I Now losing the bananas is one thing, but pineapple, I loved pineapple,
Oh, I love
bro,
pineapple too, man. Like,
and I can't eat it no more because
especially on pizza,
oh yeah, it's so good. You know, I don't understand why people hate pineapple on pizza. It's the
because they're
bomb.
communists. I mean,
Maybe because we're from California. Like we're from California, we like pineapple on our pizza.
initially, and funnily enough, pineapple pizza was invented by a Greek dude who visited a Chinese restaurant once.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lore of it. I think it was a Greek guy up in Canada. And speaking of Canada, this subverts, but the California rule was actually invented in Canada.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's a Greek dude who visited a Chinese restaurant and came up with pineapple pizza.
Mm.
So it wasn't Hawaii as a Disney movie implies, and also this might get me banned or at least downvoted or whatever the hell. But pineapple, anchovies, and mushrooms on pizza, man, God damn, that's really good. You add some ham
Yeah.
on there, that's bloody brilliant.
I love pineapple on pizza, but that's one of the things I just can't eat all the time. But you know what? It's like as long as you got the memories, I can still remember how it tastes. It's the sweetest, savoriest thing you'll ever have, man. But tomato, tomato,
And
man.
I'm getting old too, man. Jeez.
My one problem are the people that make that a campaign. Like, I don't like pineapple on pizza, and I'm gonna go online and say anybody who eats this, they're a fucking piece of shit,
And a cuck.
and they need to die. Like, god damn,
I
dude.
mean, pick a shittier hill to die on, and I'll tell you.
It's like that's the hill they're gonna die on. The anti-pineapple.
But why? Why so much hate?
I think it's the same reason why back in like the 2010s when bacon was so popular because the internet said it was a thing to love or hate. You know,
Bacon's tasty. I mean,
and,
can't we universally agree that bacon and pepperoni and
well,
some jalapeno on a pizza, man?
I've met some people who hate bacon, which is weird because
Communists. I mean,
it's the most un-American thing. Bacon is so great. It's one of the worst foods for you to eat.
damn it if it doesn't taste good.
Exactly,
And funnily enough, I'm not a big pork guy. I've never been like big into pork chops, although like S&W out in Culver City, man, I love them.
Yeah, they got those big ass chicken sandwiches. They make it perfect. S&W.
And I remember that one time that your favorite story to tell of me is how I made a giant cheeseburger disappear in like 15 seconds.
Dude, you were like Galactus. We turned her back and it's gone.
Like 15 seconds later, supposedly.
It's like, man, dude. Are you sure you're not a professional eater? Sometimes
Shh.
you got that Kobayashi in you, bro.
Well, I'm technically part Japanese, but
Man, that thing was gone.
it was fucking tasty, man.
Let's see what you can do with some hot dogs. Sorry.
Cash app. Daddy issues. I mean, cash app.
Sure, sure.
Unfulfilled desires. I mean,
But like, there's some foods I just feel like I wouldn't want to eat ever, like snail. There's
escargot.
yeah, because like I kind
It's
of
technically not a snail. It's actually a mollusk.
yeah, it's a mollusk.
But
Like
it's delicious, man. I've had it once or twice.
I'm aware I'm hypocritical because I love clams, and that's basically sort of like the same genus of animal,
I mean, again, tomato, tomato at some point.
but clams and oysters, love them. They're great, but I don't think I'll ever eat snail. And
Hey,
that's
fair enough. I mean,
some people have that psychological issue where it's like, hey, this is that you can't really eat that because that's something we see every day. Like, oh man, you're eating pigeon. That's weird, but they eat pigeon in Paris, right?
yeah, I mean, it helps with the population, man.
Yeah.
But
Some
yeah, like going on, like I like frog legs too, man.
frog is.
I like it. It's a delicacy for me. And listen, you know me that I eat just about anything, man.
Would you, if you could, would you eat the sun?
Why not? Vitamin D.
Yeah. That would be a
I'll be
that,
the sun god.
that would be a sick name for a band. Sun Eater, man. Fucking Sun Eater,
There
bro.
might be
Yeah.
like Soul Taker, but Soul as an SOL. I think I named a couple of photos that once.
Brock's Hammer. It's like I can picture a Nordic metal band like we are Thor's Hammer. We play death metal.
I'm Odin Thor Soren von Thundercock.
We are Thor Hammer, and this is our band.
And
But
Thor's
like
hammers is it like purposely like phallic.
we conquer, we go out, we conquer, and we take the women. I think some of the funniest are like the some people who claim to be like, yeah, man, my ancestors were Vikings. Like, are you sure your ancestors were Vikings? How do you know your ancestors weren't like basket weavers or something? Like, not everybody's ancestor particularly is going to be the guy with the swinging
But
the
there's
sword.
some mental wiggle room there. So you can do some mental objections, like he was a weaver for the Viking clan, so technically by default and by definition Viking.
It's like some people have this notion that like even I want to say some people who believe in the reincarnation that they're always like I used to be Alexander the Great until I was reincarnated. Like, where's your evidence for that? How do you know you
How'd you
weren't?
die?
How do you know you weren't actually a hummingbird back in that day?
Or somebody's gimp.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that. I mean, they have ancestry and 23andMe and all that shit. What if they can actually, for a fact, prove past lives?
And then the guy looks up and says, "Oh, according to here, you were a legless street prostitute who had no teeth, and you lived in Paris in the 13th century." Like, if they could actually prove that, I don't know if I want to know what my past self was.
I'm just kind of curious if past life is a thing, but
I mean,
imagine the greatest of us was actually the lowliest of, and that's the trade-off, man. To be great in this life, you had to really live a couple of fucked up lives, man.
yeah, some people believe that like each incarnation is a struggle. It's like, oh, okay, depending on your past,
And your moral choices. If you believe in karmatic reincarnation.
Kali Yuga, baby. Yeah, the great wheel of reincarnation.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant Caligula.
No, I said Kali Yuga.
My bad.
Some people use Kali Yuga to illustrate a point, like, oh, hard times make strong men, weak times make weak men. Like, no, I think it's it's
Yeah, I
not
mean, I
even
gotta say, yeah, I kind of agree with that rhetoric because listen, this country was built on sacrifice.
and a bunch of dead engines. But it's
Well,
true.
when I say sacrifice, take that however you want to imply it,
The
man. But
country
still,
was
but still, it's like listen, I will somewhat agree because listen, if I had it easy, man, yeah, I probably wouldn't be as tough as I am. Listen, you know as well as I have been through a lot of crap, and you have too. So it's like,
everybody goes through some stuff, but
but I'm saying for like
uh,
generational thing, and I know this kind of like, going off on a tangent, but listen, if and when I have a kid, man, it's like I'm torn between, yeah, I want to give that kid everything because I suffered through so much crap, but then again, I don't want to be a spoiled little son of a bitch.
I kind of see where you're coming from. I saw a video of these kids in Connecticut. I think they're called the Connecticut Kia Boys or whatever, but they break into Kias because they're easy to break into, and they're filming themselves doing it. But these kids are smart enough to wear masks and hoodies to cover themselves. So, I mean,
But again, speaking of built upon sacrifice, there were a few idiots
yeah, some of these younger kids are just straight up doing stupid shit, like
and
they're
illegal shit.
illegal stupid shit, like filming themselves assaulting people and flashing strangers. There's that one jackass that went to Japan and was harassing people. Then he got kicked out. It's like that's
Was it Jake Paul?
no, not him. It was the that what's his name, Johnny Pastrami, whatever the. I
Don't you dare knock Johnny's pastrami in Culver City. I'm sorry,
I
man.
hey,
Like Johnny Intellectuals is more acceptable, and
but
leave that as you
my
will.
my point is this guy goes to another country, makes a complete ass of himself. Then he goes to Israel and he does that. Israel is in the middle of a war and this you know what happens? They beat his ass and they arrested him.
Well, good. I
Yeah.
would have killed him, honestly. Listen,
I mean, you can't go to another person's country and do that.
it's like going doing this for himself. Listen, I came to your house if I walked in and started pissing on the walls and shitting everywhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure you would beat the piss out of me or whatever's left in me.
I'm just saying like these are young people doing this shit.
Yeah, because they're raised on. Listen, there's a lot of mitigating factors here and a lot of variables, but at the end of the day, it's like it's it. Listen, I worked in education, man. There's no such thing as a bad kid. They are a reflection of our parents. We're reflections of our parents, and at the end of the day, a broken mirror can only show as best it can
But
sometimes.
what about those rare cases where the kids come from a great home with supportive parents,
Hey,
and yet
sociopathy still exists, man. I'm just saying, like, but that's more the exception than the rule.
some people are just hardwired to be jackanapes. I feel
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, again, there's a lot of variables, but 9 times out of 10, you look back, it's like, you know, and I'm quoting an honest ad, or the thing by Cracked. It's like, after telling your kids for 10 years they're intrinsically better than everyone, what do you expect, kind of thing.
yeah. That would be an interesting movie premise. Like they take two kids and one kid is raised tough and the other kid is raised soft, and you got to see what's gonna happen. Where will they be in 20 years?
I mean, that's a wonderful social experiment, but again, there's a lot of variables into that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're lucky this is in the 1920s, because back then they could drill holes in your head and you wouldn't have to say nothing.
they can still do that technically.
No, no, it was just right on the street. Like, yeah, there's an
Oh,
orphan. Get that orphan child. Let's experiment on it.
reminds me of that episode of the Venture Brothers where Orpheus finds out that Dr. Venture's made a donation. He's like, what's in this thing? Nothing. An orphan. I'm sorry. Did you say orphan? No, not all of it. Just a heart.
And
Like,
orphans are. I remember that episode.
I
Like,
fucking love that one.
it kind of cements Doc as like a morally dubious
That's not even
character.
morally dubious. That's fucking amoral, dude. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that, like, one of the last things I saw is Dr. Henry Killinger, like, grooms Rusty to be a bad guy. I'm like, and he's at the end of it, he declines to kill his own brother, and he goes around like, "Fuck my bad guy," and he's like,
I like characters that are kind of morally gray sometimes. Like like a character I kind of like as because she's just well written to be unlikable. Peggy Hill from King of the Hill. She's so unlikable that it loops around. It's like okay, it's kind of endearing, kind of like how BoJack Horseman is. BoJack is this narcissist character of a Hollywood guy, but you also kind of
feel
pity
for
him.
him. The thing
Yeah,
is, like, for me, and I was talking with this with Ollie too. It's like, um, I hate Becky Hill because of how she's written. I can't, and yeah, she got that minor redemption thing in my eyes when she goes back to her hometown, and I find out that her mother's like worse than her, and I'm like, that explains it. But also, I'm sorry, that doesn't excuse it.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I like the way Mike Judge and Greg Daniels and all the other teams how they write the characters because they feel really real and fleshed out. And as an adult now watching animation, I can appreciate that.
Same for me,
The
although for me, listen, as a kid, even today, well, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in like a good fucking decade. But the point is, like, when I watch TV, I watch to escape. Like,
yeah,
King of the Hill was so well written that it mirrored life in some ways that was relatable to me. Like, yeah, no.
Mike Judge and them. They did this other series called Fired on Mars, which is another animated series. It's really good. Like when I first saw it on the home screen, I thought like, okay, it's another streaming service animation. But I sat down, I watched it, and after 2 episodes in, I got hooked. It was well written. The character, he's such a fuck up, but again, he's a mess, but endearing.
A
But
lovable mess. But I mean,
yeah,
the thing is, Peggy Hill isn't endearing. She's just a mess.
she's a narcissist, but like
Which again, I dealt with those in real life, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to see this shit on TV.
a lot of people hate on Peggy, but I can see. I turned around. I both love slash hate this character.
I will
Like
say that I will just back away from this because again, like, listen, I grant you it's a very, very well written show, but it's just for me it hit too close to home. And speaking of close to home, when you realize you're watching TV or YouTube or whatever, and you realize that you've been abused through your favorite cartoon or TV show, you realize, oh shit, that was oh. You ever have that moment like,
yeah, yeah. I've seen some shows that I can now relate to. It's, yeah, sometimes I just go back and I watch old Simpsons episodes and I see Homer struggling, and as a kid it's like, silly fat yellow man, and now I'm older, it's like, damn, Homer, he puts in the work.
he does? And like I haven't seen The Simpsons in a number of years as well, but I saw a clip on it how like he was on set on track to be like successful, and it cuts like 20 years later. I'm like, I didn't see the whole episode, but I don't know what happened between then and now.
I was actually watching one of the newer episodes, and I noticed there's inconsistencies with the writing. Because, like, in some episodes, there's one character, you probably don't remember, but do you know a character, Mrs. Glick? The one
Uh,
where Bart has to clean her backyard.
yeah.
So, in one episode, one of the newer episodes, they kill her off. And I'm thinking, oh man, she's dead. But in the last episode,
She's
she's
alive.
alive playing the piano. And I'm like, wait a minute, this character should be dead. And
There's actually a thing on YouTube and Facebook too that I saw that kind of addresses that, like the kill count or the body count rather.
yeah, like Dr. Marvin Monroe was another character that was killed off, but
Yeah,
hey, he's back. Oh no, he's dead. They actually make a reference to that. It's like, I'm in some kind of terrible limbo where I'm not quite alive, not
I'm not
quite
quite
dead.
dead.
And speaking of The Simpsons, I've recently read this Treehouse of Horrors comic, and my God, the comics are better written than the current show now. It's weird to say. Some of the newer issues, they they're really well written. They did an episode where an issue where Lenny learns that he's a background character. Oh man,
That's awesome, and that's gonna branch off to the next and final topic of this. Well, I mean, hell, this was fun, but the last topic of circling back, like a realizing that one's a background character. So again, we spoke last night over the phone how, I had the concept of this like being in a world of superheroes, but you're not super powered, like a guy running the deli, like, and if for all intents and purposes, fair right use and all that good shit, we're gonna reference Superman, but the difference between Superman and Clark Kent is Superman calls soda by soda, and Clark Kent calls it by pop. So you have Superman's order and Clark Kent's order at this innocuous deli, and the clerk realizes like, oh man, you got the same order as Clark Kent's, man, except you order soda and he orders pop, but you order the same thing, and like Superman has this glint in his eyes, and the clerk's not aware of it until he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna die.
I think that would work better if it was a super villain.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
seeing going on, like, listen, I'm a fan of Superman, like, low
yeah,
key. Like, I
I
like
love
him, I respect him because, dude,
I love
he has
Superman too.
near infinite power,
I,
and he still chooses to walk among us.
now that the new craze is to do like the evil Superman thing.
I mean, that's been a thing since really Watchmen, and I like the concept, but it's just like, with the boys, I don't know too much about the boys, but I know
eh,
Homelander was basically genetically engineered.
yeah, basically like the boys is kind of like it's like the middle finger to superhero stuff. Whereas
Like, corporation,
yeah,
I think it's like Watchmen almost, in
yeah,
some regards, like,
but I feel like Watchmen was better written
oh,
in all honesty.
definitely. But
Because
I can't say anything because I don't have a bearing on the boys. But basically, you jet in this Superman, so you don't have that kind of tragic backstory kind of thing. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I know Homelander a little bit because of Death Battle, oddly enough.
hmm
But it's like Superman, like, he chose to go dark after, in one universe, Joker kills Lois Lane and his unborn child. I'm like, that shit's twisted. And
Yeah,
even before, like, Injustice, the Justice League animated series did that, the Justice Lords.
yeah, I remember that one. It's a great
Dude, that
episode.
was fucking bomb, and it carried on to the next three seasons, next two rather, because it had three seasons total. But yeah,
You know, I'll say this about the boys: like the TV series it's better written than the comic was because I read the comic. They have a guy eating a baby alive in one panel, and it's like fuck. You know, you go dark with it. They went dark with it.
fair enough. I
Like,
mean,
damn.
but yeah, circling back to just the whole wire concept, like, I also had this idea, and for the comic, I just thought of it: collateral damage. That's what the comic's going to be called. Patent pending, damn it, Cash App.
You gotta always check Google because it might be taken
I know.
like a superhero called collateral.
Do you know how much of a pain in the ass it is to Google something?
It is.
You know,
You go on Google. I type in Google like, hey, I need to know what's the origin to egg rolls. Like, here's 5 restaurants. Like, no, I want to know what's the history behind it. Well, here's a YouTube clip that talks. No, I'm asking you, Google, the search engine. Tell me history of egg rolls. Okay, here's Panda Express. I'm thinking, should I switch to Bing? Because like with Bing, you can like do that AI thing where it's like, oh, show me a picture of Homer Simpson smoking a doobie. Like, yeah, here you go.
and then you say that to Google. I mean, you're probably going to get some dubious art.
Yeah. Oh, here's a ton of pregnant women's feet videos. I didn't ask for that, Google. What the? Imagine if that was a search engine. It'll show you stuff the search engine wants you to see. Like, hey, look at this photo.
Dubious search engine. I like that. But you know, that with AI being a thing, I mean, it's based on everything we've ever searched ever. So I mean, I'm pretty sure you and I, especially, we're bound to get some shit, man.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, this thing's gonna look at your search history." It's like, well, I'm not really looking at anything too bad, you know. I'm not googling women's feet or what's that singer the Taylor Swift hair or nothing like that.
Or no, showing results for prolapsed anus. Like, no, Google, no. You searched this video on Pornhub about 13 years ago. I was a different man, Google.
Yeah, I type in like red fire truck. What the hell can that mean? This guy's looking up red fire truck. What do you mean?
Communist.
It's like I just need a drawing reference. Most of my Google searches were for drawing references.
Yeah, imagine you put that drawing reference red fire truck and you get, the government shadows knocking on your door.
Yeah, it's like for a project I'm working on, I need to reference how C4 looks like, but I'm afraid to Google it. So I'm like,
I mean, if anything, you'll get the energy during C4 and probably a polite visit from the men in black.
I'll probably have to specify C4 drawing for drawing
Dude, the
reference.
algorithm, man, they're just going to pick up reference in C4. And incidentally, hi Bob, hi Steve at the FBI. Um, yeah, imagine if they had the internet in the McCarthy era.
Oh yeah, they would abuse the shit out of that. There's people already trying to abuse the shit out of it.
But I'm saying in the McCarthy era, the famous communist witch hunt, man. Like,
Yeah, they can you can Photoshop your political rivals like, oh look at this guy, there he is kissing, he's kissing Fidel Castro on the ass. They can do that.
that I don't know why, but I now have an intrusive thought to have just to search that, like McCarthy's kissing Castro on the ass.
That's gonna piss off some boomers definitely. But no,
Everything's gonna piss off everybody. At the end of the day, I realized, circling back to the whole generational thing, that everyone's gonna piss off everybody. And I gotta say, listen, I try not to toss my hat into this political ring, but you know what? We are the next generation being raised soft as hell, man.
I don't even think it's that. I think the next generation is gonna be really tech savvy.
Well, yeah, but everyone's also
Like,
super sensitive, man. 10 years ago, you could say a bunch of shit and not worry about it.
oh,
Now I'm afraid to say something even as innocuous as,
the thing,
what, I don't like this color of bubblegum. What do you mean, you racist?
I think what it is now is it's not so much about sensitivity back then. It's just people back in the day they couldn't say anything because there would have been dogpile, dogpile culture where
Right.
it's like, oh, this guy he hates the color blue. He must be a fucking fairy. He must like pink, and they jump to conclusions, and that's
But
how
they still do it now, but I'm saying,
it was. It was more. It was more like you gotta suck it up back in the day.
yeah, but now we're
Tell you
going to,
about.
like, Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can
Uh,
hurt me. I'm like,
yeah.
no.
Well, keep in mind, like I said, there's people who will. What's that singer lady? Taylor Swift. If
Right.
somebody said something about her and her fans took offense to this because that's their goddess, that's their figure they rally around,
That's their sacred.
and they doxed this guy's house and they showed up to his house and all that. And it's like that's too much.
Yeah, but I'm also just saying to raise. Listen, I worked in education very briefly, and I'm just saying, like, oh, you can't even say Christmas legally, man. You can't
Yeah,
say fucking Easter.
yeah. You gotta.
You can't say Indian style. Call me old fashioned, but hey, I
Yeah,
was
that's
growing.
what we used to call it that in my school.
And
Like,
now it's crisscross applesauce, if you can believe it. And I'm like, what in the.
well, it's just how things go. There's PC things that are politically correct. Like you can't just run around calling everybody slurs now. But Twitter. If you've been on Twitter,
And Facebook as a whole. And speaking of Facebook, and wow, we really got off topic and to the point where I can't remember my closing statement slash segment, but yeah, Facebook, man. Listen, I every so often on my feed I see blatant advertisements for porn like this. I got a picture of a chick just spreading her legs all the way to Africa, kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna report this. Facebook, oh hey, this does not go against our community guidelines that it clearly goes against. Oh, by the way, we're taking off this post because it's redundant or advertising, and I'm like, it's a picture of a mountaintop.
I
How is that redundant, or how is this comment redundant?
I get these videos of this big butt Korean lady popping up in my reels all the time. Like just
But that, I mean, that's borderline. But I mean, I see some posts, and I can't. I don't know if I'm going on Facebook right now because we're recording. But still, it's like I have at one point a screenshot of this chick just she's just lips open and I'm like, come on in, sailor, and I'm like,
I'll say this, like technology has indeed enslaved everybody,
you're right.
and the people who sort of talk shit about it, they're the most enslaved. Like me, I'm super enslaved to my phone now. I feel naked if I don't have it with me.
That is
It's
terrifying. And
yeah.
and as much as I hate to admit, yeah, I'm naked without my phone too. Listen, a
I
couple years ago, I was working and I realized, oh shit, I left my phone in an Uber, and I think I borrowed one of my colleagues' phones, and I'm calling my mom and everything, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, wow, my mom was really dependent on her phone, and then I realized, oh shit, I can't call anyone. I can't call my at the time I had a girlfriend, and I'm like, I can't call her. I can't do shit. Oh my god, I'm really screwed.
Yeah, it's true because like we need our phones for just about everything. Some people have their wallets as their phones, which is super scary because phones can be hacked like that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the
every aspect if you think about it is scary enough. I mean, this bag of hot Cheetos could kill me.
yeah. I'm eating some pork rinds. I usually don't eat pork, but
Those are
there's
fucking tasty, by the way, and
they're,
they're called Pepe's.
and they're hard as fuck. They are harder than a mountain.
Hotter than Big Black Dan.
Yep. Big booty. But back to phones, man. We are super dependent on our phones. So honestly, I was walking around. I didn't have any clean pants to wear, so I'm just in my underwear all day. I got my phone in my hand. Like I should really put this down, but I might get an important phone call from my doctor or something. So I'm carrying it around. It's the worst thing, man. I gotta I gotta put it down on the table, and I go check on my parents. I come out. I'm like, where the fuck's my phone? Where the fuck's my phone? God damn it!
I mean, for me, in better times, I mean, it is a double-edged sword, but it's somewhat different. So, like, when I was a little anyway, when I was better off financially, like, the same thing. I'm in my underwear and I'm on my phone. My thing is like, wait, I can order food, but wait, now I have to put on pants.
Like the thing about those ordering food from home. When I was a kid, I imagined like, man, that'd be so sweet to go just get McDonald's, like take out from home. We could do that with pizza. Why not with burgers and everything else?
Now there's a
And
30% upcharge.
yeah, and I was called. People are like, oh, you're stupid. That's never going to be a thing. And well, I was, you
Who's
know,
laughing now?
I was kind of right. I just didn't predict the upcharges.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because you really had no logistical inclination of how a business run. You think like, no, it's standard and it's all set up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was just a hopeful kid. I was hoping for an end to these diseases, an end to world hunger, but
And flying cars.
yeah, we all wanted flying cars.
Speaking of flying cars, noting to Kevin Smith's film, the short film The Flying Car, where Randall argued like there would be no traffic jams, and my one thing is I just thought of it after a rewatch. I'm like, yeah, there would have been because in the Jetsons it clearly depicts there's still traffic jams.
Yeah, I mean, they still got to follow a flight route. So there
Yeah,
most definitely will be traffic
and
jams.
and in the Jetsons too, like George rear-ends a bunch of other cats, and it's like, so logistically, if that were a real thing, man, that would have been lethal.
Yeah, imagine you hit like one of the engines in that. That thing will fall out the air and
Well, we're
smash
assuming it's
down.
about the size of a car, but still, it's like either way, it's a combustible engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my one counter to the flying cars. Like, yeah, there would have been traffic no matter what.
I imagine. I also imagine people would just be flying in helicopters more. There'd be more helicopters because that's the closest thing we have to a flying car is a helicopter. That's the closest thing we're gonna get.
For the time being, and you're not wrong, until the overlord at Tesla deems it so. We'll have a flying car.
And it's like I only see a few of those metal lunchbox Halo cars driving around the city,
I
and
loved how he said it was bulletproof on stage, and a baseball took it out.
yeah. I mean, to the defense, like they did improve the metal. It is a little bit
But the
stronger, but
glass, though, the glass, man, was
yeah.
supposedly bulletproof and taken out by a damn baseball.
But like the problem with those Tesla cars, the number one thing,
But
water. Water will fuck up a Tesla car.
because it's electric.
And it's made out of like metal that rusts easily, and you gotta keep it inside. You gotta.
Also, God forbid you're driving in a thunderstorm.
I mean, you're talking about sensitive society. The Tesla is like the censored iPad kid of the cars. It screeches if you take its iPad away. It's got to be made regularly. It needs oil, special oil. It's like they really just made a pampered little Timothy car. Like, I
I
don't want
like
to.
that.
I don't
Uh,
want to drive with the other cars. I need special oil.
to quote The Simpsons, I'm an electric car. I don't go very fast and I don't go very far. And when people drive me, they'll think you're gay. One of us. One of us.
Classic.
And that concludes our little rant. Thank you for joining us. I've been Matt. This is Jesse. Say goodbye, Jesse.
Y'all take care now.
We'll see you soon. Bye.